Carpo, Gene Heck said loudly, after which the barrier fell. In Latin, it was a destruction spell that made it easier to break through the barrier. It was the one the guy used to get through the barrier when he entered the room. The old man didn't actually contribute anything to the barrier's destruction. Did he really believe that his endless attack on a barrier that was impossible to break through would be of any use? Just a waste of mana, Heck pondered. In the end, that old man's mana was almost completely all this was done as a safety net. Because now the guy was going to piss the grandpa off. Heck knew everything about the tower to the smallest detail, and therefore the map with information up to the 10th floor was completely useless to him. Even so, he wasn't going to give it to anyone. Bringing a lead lighter to the edge of the map, Heck was going to burn the map. With this map, anyone could find out all the information up to the 10th floor, so it was feared that Heck's advantage would disappear. In this case, the surest way was to get rid of that possibility. The entire map burst into flames and burned in a matter of minutes. This event absolutely angered John Woo, who immediately started cursing at Heck, promising to wipe him into powder. Condition fulfilled. You have succeeded in copying the fire element. The skill, a system notification, informed Gene Heck. The copied skill is stored in world memories. Reported the system notification, fire element. Not a bad stat for the first copy, the guy thought, ignoring the old man's threats, which continued to pile up. However, when the grandfather activated the skill, Gene Heck's patience broke. You don't seem to understand. You don't know why I burned the map, do you? After saying those words, the guy activated a new skill. Although it was only level 1, the difference between Heck and John Woo was astonishing. John Woo realized that Heck was far from a mere mortal since he had such a level. He was so not simple that he didn't even need a map. Old man, if you intend to continue to climb the tower in peace, you must obey me well. Counting Gene Heck, only 4 old men had appeared in the National Central Museum. Now that the challenge tower was a reality, the guy understood the general desire to reduce risks, but the guy didn't understand how one could get ahead of everyone else by doing such a thing. Be that as it may, the guy was determined to gather as many personal abilities and skills as possible. Just like that, Gene Heck had gotten a horse that he would be able to do whatever he wanted with for a long time. His road is still so long, so the first thing he decided to do was to gather the most necessary abilities. Of course, he won't be able to monopolize absolutely all the ironic destinies, but it is in his power to gather the coolest and most important ones. Suddenly, the silence was interrupted by the rumbling of his stomach. There it is, my limit. It's time for rice soup. Walking into the cafe, he heard people's outrages. There was an incident at the National Central Museum in which at least 23 people were killed and more than 50 were found injured. The casualties include the critically injured, so the death toll will continue to rise. The instigators allegedly targeted relics kept in the museum, reported the news broadcast. However, it's not just in South Korea, but also in the US, Europe, China, Japan. Similar incidents are happening all over the world. As expected, players in other countries weren't sitting idly by either, making preparations to conquer the tower. Let's take a look at the CCTV video taken inside the building. Footage of Hayek and Lee Yuri fighting in the museum began to appear on the TV screen. It's hard to believe, but this is, without exaggeration, reality. The government is investigating the reasons behind the appearance of a building of unknown origin called the E-Test Tower. For the employees who can now use special abilities, a special unit, the Awakened Association, was founded. The government reacted faster than Hayek had anticipated. Judging from the fact that they had formed the department from people who had already awakened personal abilities, they had decided to accept what had happened at the museum as something inevitable. It was rather unexpected. Gene Heck was sure that it would take them at least a few weeks for this to happen. Let's meet the participants and hear the details. The voice from the TV continued. My name is Hanseng Jin. I am the head of the Awakened Association. The reason I am here is to recruit awakened ones. It will depend on your level, but we promise that the pay will be in line with a 7th grade civil servant, and the minimum annual salary will be 60 million won. After a short pause, the man continued, of course, the people who appeared on the broadcast are the exception. Nevertheless, I am willing to put the name of the head of the association on the line and promise, if you join us, whatever you wish for, all your needs will be funded by the government. The people who appeared on the broadcast are the exception. Hesitated Hawk, so in the end their target was me. They considered the guy a serious threat. However, he wasn't going to be owned by anyone, no matter what price was offered. One experienced person had far more value than 100 similar players, and since Hanseng Jin also understands this, he tried to lure such a person to his side by beckoning him with a bank check. Hanseng Jin, since he was entrusted with the position of the head of the association, Does that mean he has a pretty good ability? The thought flashed through Gene Hawk's mind, or else, is it all because he's been playing Tower of Trials for a long time? Since that's the case, it would be glorious if it was a really good ability. Hiku was already impatient to feel the sweet taste of copying. Shifting his gaze to the clock, the guy realized that it was only a short time before the tower opened. At 7 p.m., when the hour hand indicated the new time, the Tower of Trials officially opened, greeting everyone with a system notification. People couldn't believe that the tower had actually opened and looked just like it did in the game. However, it never ceased to amaze. In honor of entering the tower, 100 coins have been given away. A system notification alerted everyone who entered the tower. Coins are a currency that can be used in the tower. Dear players, by saving your achievements on videos and uploading them, for every 10,000 views you will be awarded 100 coins. The commission varies depending on the level of the player. Viewing videos by those who live outside the tower will only count when they watch the video for the first time. Therefore, please be cautious when choosing a video to watch. The live streaming function can only be used while clearing boss monsters to get to the life's floor. Appropriate action will be taken if tampering of views and other illegal activities are detected. Here it is. The bridge that is the link between the people going up in the tower and the regular people living outside the tower is the live streaming system. Viewers watch player videos, wanting to see the end of the tower and thus raise views. The most interesting setup of Tower of Trials is this system. In other words, the more famous you are, the more coins you can earn. After all the system notifications appeared, people snapped out of their seats, hurrying to grab a favorable spot as quickly as possible and raise the level faster. They must want to get ahead of everyone or get rich quicker. It wouldn't be a problem for Heck to learn coins since he knew everything. However, he wasn't going to pour the video first, even if he gets some coins for watching, but shares the information he has, he will do himself a huge damage, especially since the guy had already decided what he wanted to do first. A bit of a different road from the rest of us, G-Hack was immersed in the memories of the very first pass. At that time, after clearing the beginning of the 30th floor of the tower, there was a period where there was no way to advance further. He collected hidden parts, searching the lower floors to climb to the next floors, constantly analyzing every step of the way. Eventually, he was able to find a solution in the ruins alone. Finally, he realized that his character was worthless from the beginning. Is this the result of me searching all the lower floors? The character I pumped up after spending several years in misery turned out to be crap. The guy was bursting with internal resentment and despair. However, he was determined to delete the character and start all over again. That was about 6 years ago. Heck wondered, standing in front of the dungeon doors. Name, Labyrinthos. Type, Labyrinth. Difficulty level, B. The system notification popped up. Description. Labyrinth of Crete, designed by Daedalus, features an incredibly intricate maze and the presence of traps of various types. The foundation for breaking through above the 30th floor will be base accumulation. And the key to the essence of this sweep is in the Labyrinthos maze. Heck never thought that he would have to do this again. It feels like he's going into the army again. Alright, let's go. Gene Heck encouraged himself as he opened the maze. Inside, he was greeted by the familiar sight and smell. Everything was exactly the same as before. Beautiful blowing moths flew under the ceiling, one of which descended and sat on Heck's arm. However, the guy's attention was taken away by the people that entered the maze after him. Who are you? The guy asked menacingly. Hello. Friendly began a girl in a pink sports sweatshirt that looked to be the head of the team. We were looking for a place to hunt and saw an open maze, so we decided to go in before it closed. 10 minutes before the labyrinth invasion. A group of people had been watching Heck from the moment he entered the tower. They thought he knew something, so they followed him. They didn't understand why the guy went into the maze as soon as he entered. And even more, they didn't understand how Heck opened the maze door without a key. Let's go in too, said the girl in the pink sweater, for which she was immediately bombarded with angry comments from her teammates. If you have a head, try such a thing as thinking. We also know what the most important thing is at the beginning of the Tower of Trials. Right, he hasn't even found the key and the maze has already opened. Besides, since it's at the first level, that means it's possible to go in there and the degree of difficulty isn't that high. From the crowd came the logical statement that the guy obviously wouldn't want to share items, to which the head of the group stated that they would make him stay in that maze forever. Hello, friendly began the girl in the pink sports sweatshirt that looked to be the head of the team. We were looking for a place to hunt and saw an open maze, so we decided to go in before it closed. Since you're going in anyway, wouldn't it be better if we all went together? They say the more people who share the burden of danger with you, the better. Heck didn't like the fact that they were trying to outsmart him, confident in their numerical superiority. Activating his eyes of truth, he began to study the status window of the girl who introduced herself as Park Hannah. The guy noticed a very entertaining ability, Contact. It allowed for faster rapprochement with people and eliminated the feeling of awkwardness. Copy condition. Move together with Park Hannah for a minimum of 240 hours. However, during the 240 odd hours, you cannot have anyone else around besides you and Park Hannah. Contact. It will help control that person later. Flashed through Hayok's mind. The rest of the squad members introduced themselves as well. Some hadn't even made it to the end of the first floor, for others it was the first time at all. Heck didn't even memorize their names, because he was sure they could betray him at any moment. Park Hannah approached Heck and put her arm around his waist, asking him what level he was on. Park Hannah is activating the contact skill of level 1, the system notification warned. So that's how it works, thought the guy, coming to his senses from the skill. If I didn't know about the ability, I'm sure I would have sensed we were close, right? Dryly replying that he was up as much as he could. Heck did his best to shove the annoying girl away from him. What's up with that bastard? The contact effect should have shown up by now. Strange, Hannah couldn't find a place for herself. Then maybe you can tell me what kinds of monsters there are in the maze and what their features are. It's not hard for you, right? Hannah turned to Heck. Not difficult, replied Gene Heck dryly. This maze changes every time at a certain hour. At first, the people around him didn't understand what he meant. But as if to confirm his words, the maze shook and began to change its shape. New blocks began to emerge from the walls of the labyrinth, changing their position with great speed, crushing the players in the process. By the time the reshuffle was over, only 4 people remained alive from Hannah's group. Everyone's been to the beckoning maze at least once, haven't they? Heck asked calmly, dusting off his shirt. It's too dangerous for level 1. We need to get out of here now, Park Hannah stated the fact. Hi Min, can you find a way out? You can find it with your ability, right? Asked Hannah to the girl in her squad. During the maze change, the ability deactivated. Min said with tears in her eyes. Then, it turns out we can't find an alternate exit either. We're locked in here. Hannah's face showed fear. Heck wondered why they had entered the labyrinth so confident. And it was only because of their faith in navigation. Afraid that this someone was not a novice, they figured that knowing about the maze would turn their foray into a trip to the neighborhood supermarket. Okay, let's stop with the fact that they're idiots. Now it's almost time for him to show up. Heck was distracted from his musings by Hannah's shouting at him. She began to accuse him of not warning about the maze changes earlier, and that many people had gotten hurt because of him. The rest of the group joined her. Hey, tell me, did I tell you to follow me? Heck asked coldly. You said yourself you came from there, didn't you? I didn't drag you here by force. The white-haired guy was getting even angrier at Heck and even drew his weapon to attack the guy when his head was blown off his shoulders by a single blow from a sharp axe. From around the corner came a huge and clearly not friendly minotaur. Everyone drew their weapons to defend themselves while the axe reappeared in the beast's hand. We're dead, ran through Hannah's mind. Stand back, Heck said and headed out to meet the beast. No one realized what he was doing. The Minotaur was about to strike, but at the last moment Heck ducked. You have successfully dodged, said the system notification, followed by the next one. A hidden stat breach has been received. Great, Heck thought, smiling contentedly. The Minotaur was about to strike, but at the last moment Heck dodged. You have successfully dodged, said the system notification, followed by the next one. A hidden stat breach has been received. Great, Heck thought, smiling contentedly. A gap is a stat that reduces the level difference in a battle with a strong opponent, and increases it even more in a battle with a weak opponent. When fighting an opponent stronger than yourself, the level difference decreases for every 3 points. This is the way to grow while remaining at level 1. And the only way that Heck learned about through countless trial and error. Dodging the Minotaur's numerous attacks, Heck remembered that he had already been hit by thousands, no, tens of thousands of times. His body remembered every attack pattern. Status breach increased by 0.05. The system notifications appeared one after another. No matter how powerful the Minotaur's attacks were, they were of no use if they didn't reach their target. Hannah's squad began to slowly realize that they were going to pick on the wrong person. Even Patch Hannah herself realized how crazy she was, since she was planning to kill a monster like this and take away his rewards. Slowly, very slowly, Heck reasoned as he turned to the Minotaur, swinging it from side to side like that. And you think you can hit it even once? These words only made the monster more angry. The way to become stronger in a short time is simple. You just need to take a risk by placing a bet and putting your life on the line. After all, the reward is given according to the life-threatening danger. That's why Heck risked everything and at the last second dodged the attack that should have blown his head off. At the last second, you managed to dodge a fatal attack. The breach stat is increased by 1. Getting 1 stat point for a scratch is generally not a bad trade-off. Great, thought Heck, but make a slight mistake and the situation becomes many times more dangerous. We need to slowly finish this. The guy looked at Hannah's team. Oh, look at them. Secondary characters willingly decided to remove themselves. Hannah's group moved under the wall, trying to find a way out. Where are you guys going? Heck crept up silently, which startled the entire group, especially when they saw a minotaur behind his back that was rapidly approaching. If you want to gain stats too, join us. Dodge its attack and you'll be given a hidden stat. It's easier than it looks. Just give it a try. Heck smiled wryly. Gotta share the rewards, don't we? The minotaur struck the square, but none of Hannah's team fought to dodge. Everyone froze in horror. If Gene Heck hadn't dragged everyone away at the last moment, this was where they would have died. Oh no, what will happen if you continue to stand here like this? At least bend over and keep your distance, came the guy's mocking voice. He was clearly enjoying the helplessness of the players who had decided to finish him off. Am I right, Kev? He never got an answer though. The maze started to change again, saving the players from the monster and giving them some time to rest. See you later. Heck threw to the minotaur one last time, smiling. The angry minotaur struck the wall with his axe, but it did not do any good. Meanwhile, the boys were catching their breath, panicking hysterically at their proximity to mortal danger. They had hoped that the minotaur would no longer pursue them, but Heck saddened them. The pollen of the glowing moths I touched recently is attracting the minotaur. It's quite possible he will continue to pursue us. When asked why he did something so reckless, the guy explained elementally, "While I have to raise stats, right? Every time the maze changes, I get a little rest to replenish my stamina and have fun, only for the calf to find me again. Isn't that a beauty?" Hannah asked the perfectly logical question. "Then how much longer will you be doing this?" To which she received an equally logical answer. "Until we get out of the labyrinth." Exactly 1 month. At such a statement, Hannah along with the surviving guy decided to move separately from Heck. However, they didn't know where. While Heck, who knew more about this maze than anyone else, naturally knew where the exit was as well. There seemed to be no way out. Hannah had to agree to go with her boyfriend. She was just about to say so when she was interrupted by Gene Heck. "But no, is there anything in this world for free? Even car fare has to be paid for. Coins what you've got, lay it all out," the guy said, putting the knife to the girl's neck. "Opus Pa," shouted the guy while killing goblins in one of the tower caves. This guy's video racked up quite a few views at a time, as everyone was wondering if he was really closing a dungeon without resting for 15 whole hours. The comments section was full of both spam to promote the video and some stereotypical comments. Either way, however, they were promoting the video and making it more popular. Enough, enough. Look, they ate it. The guy couldn't be happy with his friends. All the headlines on the bulletin board are all about me. At least I got some use out of fighting the yearlings to a pulp. The guy continued to peck away. "We'll get 1,000 coins for this video. It's thanks to our combined efforts." Thanks, guys. I bet everyone thinks you did it solo. We edited it cool too. What would you do without us? The second guy began. They edited it really well. No one even noticed that the player has a lot of buffs. However, in the comments began to write that it could have been cleaned up in 5 hours. Of course, the company didn't believe it, and began to joke with the words "life in this world initially assumes its monopolization by outstanding discoverers." The guys had no time to rejoice at their success, as they uploaded a new video on the Walk of Fame, which immediately attracted the interest of the whole community. World's first, success in strengthening the subject by 10 times. The numbers of comments and views instantly skyrocketed, and the video took the first place in the Walk of Fame, displacing the cave closing video. 10 minutes ago Heck sent the 2 newfound slaves off to gather moss for the recliners and something to make a fire, while he himself summoned the exchange, a handy platform for buying anything the lad needed. He was glad that he had gotten coins without much effort and could buy the things he needed for crafting. To many, they might look like trash that no one would buy: enchanted tarot cards, a shard of an old worn bronze key, a piece of a wooden wagon wheel, a bingo amplifier. But to the guy, they were some of the most important components of his plan. "Thank you sincerely for your purchase," the system notification alerted. The most important thing about buying any item was one principle. The most important thing was knowing how to use it. So, by combining enchanted tarot cards, a shard of an old worn bronze key, and a piece of a wooden wagon wheel, the guy received Wheel of Fortune, Goddess of Fortune, unfinished. This artifact elevates luck to its highest value for 10 minutes, but only had one use, unless one knows the limit of luck with a limited area. To the best of one's ability, the luck gain can be something that will push you from heaven to earth. However, Heck knew its limit, and so he activated the artifact. The highest value of luck has been increased. The system notification reported. The amplification success rate is 0.000012%. Reinforcement loot was famous for having the worst percentage, but right now, Heck's luck was at its maximum level, and he was going to use all of it on the Congel. You have succeeded in amplification. System notifications appeared one after another with the same text. It was hard to count how many there were, but finally after all those identical notifications, another one appeared. Received Old Dagger 10, max. Followed by 2 more. You are the first person on the Korean server to succeed in creating a 10 item. 5,000 coins received. Followed by another one. This achievement will be placed on the Walk of Fame for 24 hours, starting tomorrow. It was the 10th 24 hours of life in hell. A fire made of gathered twigs, a bed of moss and no food except mushrooms and the same moss. The Minotaur that came regularly at certain times was exhausting, and the changes in the constant struggle on the verge of life and death only made it worse. But Gene Heck took it all casually, not showing any signs of it at all. What was harder was Hannah and the guy with her. If this keeps up, we're going to die. Hannah summarized. Yeah, that demon will take advantage of us enough and leave us. Her friend agreed with her. In front of Pack Hannah, messages from anonymous people started popping up with all sorts of advice on eliminating boyfriend Ta, and generally words of encouragement. From these messages, it became clear that the girl was doing a forbidden live broadcast for which she could be penalized if this came out. The commentators tried to dig up information about Gene Heck, but they naturally failed. All videos about the tower before its opening in the real world were blocked, and there was no information about a player named Gene Heck anywhere. A couple of people tried to find his channel on YouTube, but also failed and decided that the guy chose a full solo walkthrough. Anonymous passed information about the situation to the guild Black Raven, which consisted of both guys from the maze and Hannah's old brother, but even there no information could not be found. The only thing the girl learned was that it would take another 3 weeks to get her out of the labyrinth, because no one knew exactly where the labyrinth was. I've been thinking, Hannah began, if we kill this freak and hold on a little longer before Appa comes to the cave we discovered, we can survive this hell and get out of it. The girl thought for a moment, but soon continued the thought, the only question is how to get rid of him. Isn't Wallace asleep the best chance for that? Asked the boy sitting next to her. Picking up a heavy stone from the floor will get rid of it at once. Not many people can live with a fractured skull anyway. Isn't Wallace asleep the best chance for that? Asked the fellow sitting next to him. Picking up a heavy stone from the floor will get rid of him at once. Not many people can live with a fractured skull anyway. The guy took a swing at Hayok, but was stopped at the last moment by Park Hannah. Wait. That man has the reaction speed of a real monster. Whether you attack head-on or sneakily, we're powerless against him. There's a good chance that if you attack him now, he'll stand up and attack back. And what do you suggest? The boy hissed angrily. It's not like we can keep suffering. And who says we will continue? The girl started rummaging through her pocket, frantically searching for something. You know that my older brother is a member of the Black Raven Guild, right? He gave me something in case I find myself in danger. Hannah showed a sting that reeked of black energy, a deadly poison, 1 drop of which is enough to kill 100 trolls. The poisonous sting of a giant immature pumpkin wasp. If it's to be acted upon, it must be acted upon in a way he can't resist. Fried moss and mushrooms again. Heck stretched out anguishedly. A wooden board served as a plate, and the chopsticks were made of mouse bones. It felt like the characters were making a survival movie. Park Hannah hinted rather bluntly that if a guy wanted something different, like a mouse or a moth, he would have to get that different first. It wasn't a lie in general, but the guy still called Hannah rude in his mind. Miss Park Hannah, would you pass the water behind you? Mr. Soul Sick, pass some mushroom with moss. Gene Hayok asked the others. They gladly complied with the guy's request, additionally telling him to eat the mushrooms since there's still plenty of this nasty stuff. Have a nice one, the guy finally nodded, taking his food. As soon as he put a bite of food in his mouth, the commentators exploded in an uproar. Some joked about the warmth in his mouth, others wryly asked if the food was good. The plate fell out of the guy's hands, and his mouth bled. However, for some reason, it wasn't everyone's expected Heck who got poisoned, but Hannah's friend Seal Sick. Literally in a second, his body darkened and started emitting an ominous aura around him. Assholes, Heck summarized. You thought I'd mindlessly accept food from your hands like that? You knew about the poison. Hannah asked worriedly. She was afraid that Hyun wouldn't do anything to her, for she realized that she was powerless against him. Yes. When I asked for a refill, I quickly changed plates when you were distracted for a moment. The guy opened the report window and turned to the anonyms that were chatting with Hannah. It's definitely illegal to secretly conduct a live broadcast. What are you talking about? Both Hannah and the commentators started to panic. Do you have any proof? Let's see. Live streaming can only be enabled when facing a boss to go to the next floor. The guy started reading out the rules. In the event that you tampering or other illegal activities are detected, appropriate action will be taken. If no illegal activities are detected, the applicant will be fined. Apply. A system notification popped up. You should watch your facial expression while on air, don't you think? There's a bit too much visible disappointment on it. Park Han. The guy pressed the yes button in the system notification and a barrier labeled warning immediately appeared around the girl. Application has been submitted. Anonyms have been removed. The system notification reported. Hannah just watched as her viewers were blocked one by one, without being able to do anything. These viewers will not be able to watch the video for 1 month. If violated again, these viewers will be permanently deleted. The system notifications reported while Hannah still didn't fully understand what was happening. A new notification appeared. This player's fine has been replaced by a merciless fate. Immediately after this message, the wall was breached by a minotaur that had just discovered its victims. With a loud roar and a lust for killing in its eyes, it began to flee rapidly. Are you going to fight this time too? Began Hannah to Jin Haeok. Just tell me where I can hide. Hurry up. He's getting closer. Miss Park Hannah, how cheeky you are, uttered Jin Haeok. Even more recently you tried to send me away, so why should I even tell you anything? Heck asked the logical question. Why, you ask? The girl hesitated, but you've been doing it so far. The conditions of copying have been fulfilled. You have succeeded in copying the skill contact. See. A system notification appeared, after which Heck smiled ominously. Oh, that. Now you're not needed. Heck issued threateningly. Wait a minute. You're going to regret it, aren't you? My older brother in the Crow Guild, but the Minotaur, who had clearly not been taught that interrupting is not a nice thing to do, especially not with an axe. Hannah barely dodged it, while Heck looked as if he had been waiting for it. He wanted Hannah to look at him carefully, because he was going to show how big the difference between him and some stupid guild was. The boy struck the Minotaur with a crisp kick to the neck. Tisk, not deep, the boy remarked. But the damage, as well as the benefit of pumping breach, was there, which was already good news and couldn't help but be happy. In any case, killing the Minotaur will not be possible yet, so it will be enough to create a similar situation. After another series of dodging the monster's attacks, the guy activated the fire skill. Activated fire element 1 Latvian Lat informed the system notification. However, it was as if the fire was wiping out the monster without touching it. So, the guy cut the tendons in the monster's knees and the monster, unable to stand on flat paws, fell off with bent legs. Don't rage too much, said Heck, intercepting the dagger into a more comfortable grip. As you build muscle, the meat gets tougher. It was almost time for the Minotaur to use his last card. A terrifying monster howl echoed throughout the maze and a system notification appeared. Maze Guardian Minotaur activates rabies 10 Latvian Lats. With quick and precise blows, our hero struck the Minotaur from behind, hitting its tendons and thus immobilizing it. The hero prepared himself, knowing what awaited him next, as he had passed this test before. The Minotaur used his last trump card and activated a 10 Latvian Lats rabies. His muscles grew larger, much like himself. He was aggressive and very angry. His axe began to glow green in color. Our hero stood confidently. The girl did not understand how such a creature could even be defeated. The rabies that activated the Minotaur meant that for 5 minutes, Vic's strength, speed, and movement speed were increased by 30%. An additional time option was activated. Intelligence was increased. He could speak fluently in the human language. The human said to the Minotaur, I will tear you to shreds, stomp you into dust, and sew you into Dagjit so that you can no longer encroach on this place. Our hero felt the mana effect improve slightly from what it was. Now he was ready. Attack! He shrieked. The Minotaur was possessed by the power he had. They clashed, blow after blow being thrown by the Minotaur.